Queensland, where there's been a string of heartbreaking stories about children battling cancer, being forced to undergo treatment without their parents by their side, and people being denied access to be with their dying parents in their final moments or even to attend funerals.
I was going to surprise him for Father's Day last weekend. By the time they got back to me for the approval, Dad had already passed away. I asked for an exemption, just for a couple of hours to go to the funeral. They said I shouldn't even be in Queensland because the exemption for me to come to Queensland was to say goodbye to my dying father, not to go to the funeral.
Sarah talking to Neil Breen on 4BC's Breakfast Show. The Prime Minister called in moments later on Ray Hadley's 2GB 4BC show.
It's her last opportunity to say farewell to her dad. Now, all of us who've been through that process know how important a day like today is. It's still fresh in my mind.
My dad died 45 years ago, mate. I know your dad passed more recently. I still remember my dad from 45 years ago like it was yesterday, mate.
Yeah. It was Father's Day on the weekend. Surely, in the midst of all of this heartache in COVID, this can be done.
I will not be bullied, nor will I be intimidated by the Prime Minister of this country, who contacted me this morning and who I made very clear that I would pass the information on to the Chief Health Officer, and it is the Chief Health Officer's decision to make.
I'm sorry, who's running Queensland? I understand why we want to be careful with this virus. This is an awful, awful disease. But they've done plenty in Queensland. They're not in a position now where they need to have that border shut.
This is The Other Side with Damien Curry, a new podcast for the quiet Australians. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, and all major podcast platforms.